What's up, guys? Welcome back to podcast.
The podcast.
The podcast.
A podcast.
A podcast. We don't want to assume it's gender, so let's not.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a podcast right
It's
now.
a podcast. Yeah. I guess. Well. So we know yesterday, like the inauguration happened. Like, did you watch anything about it? Like, did you watch any of it?
I saw absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
All I know is Trump won. That's really it. And that he's in. He's official. He's in. I think I saw a picture of a bunch of pardon books on his desk.
Yeah, like the pardon books and like executive orders and stuff like that. One of the funnier things that he kind of just like gave the middle finger to some of his haters is he could close out like his big inauguration. I didn't like watch any of this, but like I just read a story about it. Is he had the village people come up and do YMCA, and he did the like,
oh my God,
the Trump dance, like whatever that is, like So he did do that, which is kind of entertaining because people are giving him shit about that. But
he is funny.
Yeah, he is funny. I don't care how you feel about him. He's funny.
He's funny,
and he's definitely a little bit of a troll, which is pretty comical. Like, no matter how you feel about that, it's like he's the president. Like, okay. Yeah,
but I mean, a lot of the people he's talking to are just a bunch of nerds. So like, he's just kind of just doing the schoolyard bully, just like, shut up, dude. Like,
yeah, shut up, nerd. Yeah, why don't you go back over there?
Yeah,
nerd? Like,
so I don't know. I mean, worked the first time.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like another big deal like that whole day. So it was Martin Luther King Day. Like it was all that stuff, and then OSU. We were in Ohio. And like that
national champions.
Yeah, so like it was like a massive 3-event day. Like MLK Day, the inauguration happened during the day. Then OSU won, and like everybody's like Ohio versus the world. Like I think you mean they won a national championship. Last time I checked, there's not very many football teams outside the U.S., especially at the collegiate level.
Yeah. But they are good.
Yeah, they are good. I'm not denying that.
But Michigan still beat them this year, so people are going to still say that. I know plenty of Michigan fans who will say that.
Obviously, as related to my profession, I wasn't physically at the game, but I was very close by,
close
enough.
Enough.
Hospital. And luckily, none of the fallout, but like a lot of my previous officers who are now sheriffs or police officers were working those details, and they said there were fights for hours and hours after.
Guaranteed.
Like, around the stadium and like in that area.
I think people broke into the shoe. Like,
oh no, that was on Monday. They broke into
Monday. Okay.
Yeah. No, like the Michigan game, there were fights outside the stadium for like over an hour after. Like they were dealing with it. Like as I was leaving, I was texting them like, "Hey, are you guys still like doing whatever?" And they're like, "Yeah, we're like getting in fights."
I went to, was it when they scrimmage each other, the spring game? Went to that one year. That was fine when I was younger. And I went to another game semi-recently. I was like, God, I'm too old for this shit. And especially because I sat in the student section. And I was like,
oh, that was a mistake.
I got to go. Yeah. But it was like, free tickets, free tailgate, all this shit.
Yeah.
And I hadn't been to like a game. So I was like, cool. Thank you. Love it. It was a great opportunity, great day. But it's not for me.
I have been to one spring game, and I think I was maybe like 12 or 13. I went with my dad. I'm good.
Yeah.
Like having...
The biggest I go is like a concert or a hockey game.
Hockey game. I have been to AAA hockey. That was probably one of the funnest things I've ever been to.
Yeah. Hockey's great.
Because it was just like MMA.
Yeah. No, hockey's... I went to a vacation when I was very young, but I was probably 10. We went to Canada, and we just went and watched like local Canadian teams. They were fucking sick. Like, it was awesome. Yeah,
the AAA game I went to was when I was in it was in Alabama. They took us out. We had to wear like our dress uniforms. So we were in Redstone Arsenal, and like if you don't know, that's where Space Camp is, and it's like Alabama is not what you expect. I think you've probably been there for like KCC or
something. Haven't yet.
If you guys get a chance to go like travel there, like
I've been to Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
That's just in the redneck Riviera. That's as far as I've gone, but I really liked it. So
that's where my kinfolk. Yeah, my grandmother and all of her family. There's still family down there.
Nice.
Yeah, Interestingly enough, I've never been to Mississippi. I've been to Alabama and stuff like that, but like we didn't go to Mississippi. They lived in a place called Hattiesburg. And my great grandfather was a butcher there.
Hell yeah.
So kind of weird.
That's sweet.
She would, my grandmother would tell us stories, but like we never went there. So
yeah, I went to that. I think it was an Americans Out Team Gym,
yes,
Mississippi. Really cool people. For that combative summit.
Okay.
Sweet. Great opportunity. Can't wait to go back.
But yeah, like hockey's sweet. Hockey's probably one of the funnest things like in person I've seen.
Oh yeah. When I was a kid, I saw a lady get like hit with a puck. Like they chipped it up, you know?
Yeah.
And like just went sailing, just nailed her hand. I think it just shattered her hand. I was just like, whoa.
No, wait, hold on. I have a moment here.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I was gonna say shit. Off screen.
Yeah.
Producers will be angry.
Yeah. So just so you guys know, our producer's name is Erin. She's not behind the cameras today. She will be here soon. So if you hear a female voice, that's Erin. She's our producer. Yep. She's amazing. So inauguration, like we kind of got like down the rabbit hole. Like, have you seen hockey? Like,
yeah. But also hockey related semi.
Yeah.
Not really though. Went to Minnesota.
That's sweet.
It was awesome. Walked out on a frozen lake. People were ice fishing.
Okay.
Was there for 2 days. The first day I got, well, I guess 2.5. The Friday evening you got there was 40 degrees. The next morning it was -10. Next morning it was -34 with the wind chill.
So what you're saying is like your testicles were just sucked up.
Yeah,
Into
they're like right about me. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But Aaron and I walked out on a frozen lake.
That's cool.
And my nose hairs froze instantly. It was pretty cool.
Frozen boogers.
Yeah. But you could see like down quite a bit if you saw like a clear patch of ice.
That's
like under the snow. You could see down like a couple feet.
I don't think I've ever been on like a crazy frozen lake, but I also have not been to Minnesota. I think the farthest north I've ever been is Michigan.
Land of 10,000 lakes.
Yeah, I know like
they're everywhere.
My buddies were from there. Had one dude who was like lived on a res there, and then the other one was from like one of the more northern cities. I don't know if it's the most northern, but it's a more northern place called Warrow, Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's where the Spam factory is.
Okay.
But yeah, he used to like legit like walk to Canada.
Yeah.
And just like hang out.
Right. Yeah, they're right there.
Yeah.
I mean, the accent's right there.
Yeah. Which I know.
And I got to experience true Minnesota accent. It was cool.
Yeah. What's so obviously you guys are teaching there. Who did you like teach? What did you?
We were working at a GF team affiliate up there. It's called Higher Ground BJJ. They're really good, just jiu-jitsu gym.
Yeah.
And they really have embraced like combatives and stuff. Combatives is like, again, almost like a new word. Like it's, if you type in combatives, there's no definition for it. Combative is a word, but like people are like actually trying to like define a combatives thing. And like that's sort of like what the combative summit was, is like putting a true semi-definition to it, or like a true like backbone to it, I suppose.
What are some of the ideas like that are floated out there? Because like that is an interesting idea, because like we're almost to the point where like, yes, we do Brazilian jiu-jitsu, but like ultimately like I would say, what would you say, like 50-50, like what we do is like wrestling, catch wrestling.
We're gonna do whatever works.
Right, like yeah.
But also works across like multiple rule sets not necessarily just being competitive, rule sets being self-defense, gun, knife. They have a gun, you have a knife. They know this, you muck, all that stuff. Like, I think it would be just a comprehensive sampling of training that's available. So like, Endeavor is a good example of that.
Yeah.
You have Krav, you have jiu-jitsu, you have kickboxing, you have firearms work, you have knife work, you have fitness, you have recovery, you have all of these aspects. So I think it's a holistic kind of approach to living, but also like that embraces self-defense and actually like training and fighting. Not just, I mean, no offense to yoga or anything, but like you're going to fight people. You know?
I think like truly like Endeavor is, and I wouldn't even say like I know hybrid is like born out of like Krav, but like Aaron has taken it and made it something that I wouldn't even consider like what most people would know Krav Maga as. Like, if anything, it's more like the original idea of Krav.
And he can talk more to it, but like a lot of it's marketing, like hybrid defense, you know, or something. You have to create a whole new definition for that, and then like people are like, I don't know. So people know what Krav is, but then you can just kind of teach it how you want.
Yeah.
So again, you can kind of market it as that, and then you're going to learn how to fight, and you're going to learn not just whatever.
Well, I mean, Brooke was like talking about the original gym she went to, and she's like, she basically did kata.
Yeah.
And that was it. And then she had to show kata, and there was no like open sparring.
And that's the same thing as like jujitsu being like, oh, we're the best for self-defense. It's like, nope. So like that alone, like demystifying some of the martial artsy shit, and then making it real life applicable.
Yeah.
And then the scalability of training within that. Like, so again, an EWO course is a really good example of that, because they can take day one people and experienced people through the same material, get a same or, you know, a similar product at the end.
Yeah.
And have people take everything away from it, you know, through years or through one day, whatever, or two, or, you know, one course. I mean, 2 long days. But
so when you guys were there and like talking about like that combative stuff, like obviously like you're at a jiu-jitsu gym that's breaking out of just the like jiu-jitsu idea. Like they're bringing in you guys as, I mean, not that like Aaron is a proficient high-level jiu-jitsu practitioner, and so are you, and then you guys also add in striking and like some of the Krav ideas of like that, like connecting and doing damage or disconnecting like after doing damage and stuff like that.
Yeah. And it's, again, just a comprehensive approach, and like taking what works from whatever system, you know, if it's posts and shirt grabs and stuff like that, it's generally like gi judo style.
Yeah.
You know, you have to break grips or get around grips, get inside, do the thing. And there, so you can look at so many different contexts of it, like striking, huge piece of it. Accessing weapons, accessing whether you're carrying just a knife, gun and a knife, you know, if you have to like break distance, to actually access those things, it's really hard to get to those things at an entanglement.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, even like wearing like an external duty belt like I do, you still have to practice getting to those things like crunched up in a weird position, and like,
then what?
Like, is that even going to be effective? Like, so
yeah, it's just, again, it's still developing. So just from my experience in it, you know, you have some like high-level shooters getting into grappling. You have some high-level grapplers getting into shooting. You have people integrating bare-knuckle boxing and like all these old school styles. You have people that are experts in like saps and jacks and like impact weapons. You have people who are,
which is like, those things like are useful. Like it's another like option, but it's like, it's there, and then like you move on. Like, what do you do with that?
Right.
How do you integrate that?
Exactly. But I think a lot of these people and systems find the common ground. So, I mean, again, it's still developing, but like like-minded people find each other.
Yeah.
And there are a fair amount of them. People who can like coexist and like help each other and bounce business to each other and like exist on that front, that can actually make the idea grow.
Well, I was going to say, like, I, as like somewhat of like becoming someone who's more on the inside of understanding that, but like also an outsider, like hospital security is like the redheaded stepchild of public safety and training. But like what we've done is like, I'm like, well, we fight people all every day. Like, we can't be the redheaded stepchild. Like, we should be like the ones that are like cutting through the like veil of that.
Yeah, and like you don't have the same tools as officers. You don't have the same, you know, you have a different set of rules. So
we have a very idealized set of rules that govern us.
Yeah,
and like going back to that, like having seen like coming to Endeavor, and like you guys are like a part of that network of people that are like this. Like, we can make good training anywhere. Like it's not gym dependent, system dependent. Like it's these skill sets are common to all things. Like these are how fights happen, and you're talking about in some ways like what I would say, particularly law enforcement has some experience in. I'm not gonna say like full application. You have your unicorns, like dudes who have like really like go out and apply everything and like dump it into their profession.
Yep.
They take their profession seriously, and that's what they want to do. Like they're a martial artist and a law enforcement. Like they take the martial part of things, but the art part of things as well, and kind of combine it. Like if folks don't understand, like martial meaning like militaristic or law, like that's super important to like have that presence of mind to understand that like part of your profession is being proficient with no weapon. Like
I feel like that's been lost upon whatever. But I mean, like, dates back to Teddy Roosevelt. Like, he was the first one to instate a police academy, like, in state standards, you know. He loved wrestling and jiu-jitsu and boxing. And
but he was blinded by, like, one of the best boxers in the world.
Somebody,
said, don't tell anybody, basically.
Yeah, he was of the thought process that you should just fight. As the president, you should fight the reigning champion.
Yeah. Like,
which is awesome. Hilarious.
Going back to the inauguration, you imagine like Trump and Biden, like there's like, the election gets certified on the 6th. And then like inauguration day, like they're like
sparring match.
And then like they go into a private room and like whoever leaves is like actually the president.
Oh man.
Like they're not that much different in age.
Yeah.
So like, but Trump is huge. It's like huge.
Huge.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would be. I don't know. I'm not a betting man, but I am a thinking.
I'm not a proponent of elder abuse either, especially for Biden.
Well, I mean, they're both in the same Master 8 division, so it's fine.
Is it just 8? Is there not like a one above that?
Executive division.
Dust.
Presidential.
Master of dust.
Yeah. But got to watch UFC over the weekend as well. Haven't sat down and watched a whole UFC card in a long time. It was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Saw the first couple people get mauled. Can't really remember who they were. Some Brazilian guy who's just a freaking tank. He is just like 230 pounds of solid muscle. Just munched a dude.
They haven't kicked the Brazilians out of UFC yet?
Never will.
No. Don't hate me.
Else
I'm just kidding.
And then Yuri Prohaska. He did his thing. He did his weird fighting, but he knocked out Jamal Hill.
Yeah.
In a pretty cool, nice fashion. He's had a lot of crazy good head movement. His striking is very interesting. He comes in with his hands down, which is quite interesting. I think sometimes takes one to give one. Yeah. But like this time he was moving his head a lot more. So like he was actually making him miss and then getting him back. Made it count. They had some eye pokes. Had some nice
like Prohaska did?
They both did at one point.
Okay.
Like he got poked it and then Jamal got poked too. But nice knuckle deep eye pokes. To call back to the eye jab at Ewo. His fucking it works. Then Merab versus Umar, Khabib's cousin.
Yeah, you said he Merab put on a clinic. Like I didn't watch those.
To my knowledge, Umar had a broken hand.
Okay.
And still did like a decent amount of damage in the first 2 rounds. But then third round you could see a pretty clear shift in the tide. And then Merab just put on a conditioning clinic more so than anything. He would wrestle him, knock him down, put him down, emote over him, and then put him back and let him come back up.
I did see that highlight where he was did something and he was oh, and then
he had a few sick little single leg dumps and stuff but I think if Umar is healthy, he's gonna be a nightmare for people. He will be.
Yeah,
he's just young.
Yeah, I mean,
but Merab's fucking animal.
From what I've seen, the little bit here and there, Merab, I need to watch more of his fights.
Yeah.
Just to see,
he's been through the true test. He's definitely champ.
Yeah.
But his conditioning was just on a nut. His pace was crazy in 4 and 5. So, that was just
yeah.
He needs to be studied.
I did see some of the memes that, it was when you go back to training next week, and Umar lost, and
After 25 minutes of wrestling.
It's Islam's face, and he's like,
Yeah.
and coach says you have to do conditioning.
Yeah. Islam got his choke in about 2 seconds.
Really?
Yeah. He fought a Brazilian, I think Marcano, I think. Yeah, he just got him.
He's beast.
He's just so good.
Broke that one dude, like he chipped that dude's jaw into his mouth last time he fought.
His squeeze on his chokes are just incredible. He does things to block hips and stuff so they can't cycle their hips through and get their knees back where they need to. So then it just focuses the squeeze and makes it terrible, and you're getting your fucking head ripped off. So
literally, it sounds like.
Yeah. You will go to sleep, but you'll probably be paralyzed too. So you should tap. But yeah, that was quick. It was awesome. Great card.
Yeah.
Entertaining.
How was it watching, like you said, I haven't watched, I think the last time I watched a UFC fight was in 2010. A full card at some, at a bar.
Yeah.
I was in J Vegas in North Carolina, and I had never watched a full UFC card before. But being somewhere else, in a different place, how was that?
It was fun. Yeah. We were at someone else's house.
Oh, okay. How's house?
They invited us. It was great.
That's good.
But then a lot of them are jiu-jitsu black belts. So they have intelligent fight, commentary.
Look at that. And
it's
sweet. Yeah.
Actually nice to watch with other people who know how to fight. So
yeah.
So that was super fun. And then obviously there's good grappling. So
yeah,
those Dagestanis can grapple.
Their style is definitely, obviously that area of the world produces hard dudes.
Yeah.
Georgia, Dagestan, Chechnya,
Is that considered the Baltic region?
Yeah, the Baltic.
The Baltic countries, just monsters.
They turn out hard people. I guess you don't
hard place to live.
You don't really have an option, but yeah, they do some really good wrestling, conditioning, consistent work.
Yeah, and they're a lot of them farm and do manual labor and are skilled horsemen.
Yeah,
so there's a lot of physical living, and it's just hard to live there. So
yeah.
They're tough people.
One of my bosses is, still, his family is generational farm, and I have never messed with anybody who has a stronger grip than him.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's literally been lifting hay bales and yoking animals down by their necks since he was a bigger child.
Yeah.
I
had a hell of a time with a dog this afternoon.
Yeah.
Let alone a bull.
Yeah.
A steer.
Yeah, what is it, that snapmare mechanic where you reach under, set it up and grab and yoke them down? That's a real thing. I asked him about it, and he was yeah. He's yeah, that's exactly how you get
you gotta do that shit all the time.
Animal. Yeah, he's literally yeah, that's what you do. He's if you don't have another option, they're not roped or whatever, he's yeah, you snap them down. I was oh. He's yeah, it sucks. He's especially the first time you fuck it up.
Yeah.
And you get boom,
that's what, yeah. I respect horses and cows and all that shit because they're fucking big.
Big.
Everything. They can slice you real quick.
I'll fuck this up, but I won't repeat all of it because I'll mess it up. But he explained to me how different animals can kick in certain directions. So you examine their body parts different ways. So you don't get kicked essentially. Yeah. I think it was cows can kick at an angle, but not straight back. Horses can kick straight back and can kill you.
Yep.
But they can't articulate their leg out to the side because that's why they're fast. They have fast muscles that
makes me nervous.
The lateral direction. That may be wrong. So
the big critters.
Yeah, I may just be talking. Here.
I'm a veterinarian. Someone chime in.
I do know a couple vets. No, that's interesting.
I have definite respect for large ungulates.
So, what other parts of Minnesota? How was the group? Obviously, it sounds like it was a pretty fun group. Was it
Yep.
Any law enforcement, anything like that, or was it?
Yep. It seemed a lot of jiu-jitsu guys. So they had grappling acumen, and there were quite a few black belts in there. nice input, good questions. A couple law enforcement guys. So yeah, and like at a few points we're talking about like considerations for carrying your gun or like they're reaching through certain ways, and some of the supinated stuff, the belly up stuff that you're familiar with. Like in Maryland, we did it as well. Some of the wedge work, like going back to the other side of the body to contain a limb so that they're not reaching through, trying to grab after your waist.
So like isolating your duty belt away from them, like duty gear, weapons. That makes sense.
And depending on the group, we'll spend time on that, like a fair amount of time on that. Like obviously in Maryland, we spent more time on it because it was all cops the whole week. And this past time, there's a few cops for 2 days. So there's, X amount of days we can, or, minutes and hours we can deal with it. But it's always in consideration.
Yeah.
We always talk about how we carry stuff. Like, we're always like, we're not law enforcement or anything, not typically in duty gear or anything. We do appendix carry. We're private citizens doing whatever. So big difference, but also similar considerations.
Similar considerations, like, like how accessible is that weapon to somebody? The other thing too is like with the duty belt, like, and some of the stuff you guys teach, like, you're gonna rip their face.
Yeah.
Like,
depending on if you're doing everything the way it should be, it's going to be a massive tool without you even using it.
In that context,
or accessing it.
As far as like that being reasonable, like if it's gone to where we're talking about and they've attacked you with a knife, like them getting a little bit of cuts on their face from your duty gear is perfectly acceptable in that context, because they're trying to stab you.
Yeah.
Like there's an immediate threat, like you are addressing it. And so it's like that point of it is probably something that needs to be clarified to most people. Like, we're talking about like this is like an extreme end. They have a deadly weapon and they're actively trying to harm a law enforcement officer or a civilian with it, and this is how you guys teach to address it. So speaking to that, like law enforcement taking their duty gear across somebody's face, while that sucks, is completely reasonable in that context to stop that threat. Like,
yeah, there's a lot of debates about how cops should operate and do things. And I think dragging your belt buckle across someone's chest or neck or something is way better than shooting them, You can figure out how to grapple and like truly, de-escalate that situation.
Yeah, the outcome, like, I mean, if that means like putting your hands on somebody.
And I know plenty of cops who grapple, and I know plenty of cops who don't. And I know the ones who grapple are fine. For the most part. Like, I know, I've heard when they get into situations, they're like, oh yeah, I was fine. Like, I did this and that's cool. Like, and I hear other guys who are like a fucking nightmare.
Well, like, speaking from personal experience, like, I can talk about that transition from like going from thinking I had a handle on violence to like applying like true training. Like, yes, my response to violence, I didn't freak out during violent situations. And I mean, you've been my coach since I was a white belt. So like, you can speak to this. Like, I didn't
violent. I've seen you violent in some rough situations.
Yeah. Like, you've seen me like deal with the higher belts, and like, I don't really like freak out.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
cool as a cucumber.
Usually, I mean, like, I'm sure there'll be a time when I'm like, like, but
rolled with some gnarly motherfuckers.
Yeah, I mean, and I
me included.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but I seek those out because, like, that's what I'm there for. Like, I'm not there to
yeah,
like, will I do that? Yes.
There's a time and place for everything.
Yeah, but like that whole idea of like that shift of like, okay, starting out, you're like, I've been in some fights, but what does that mean? And then taking it to like, okay, now I'm like learning grappling fundamentals, applying the fundamentals, like applying like some different techniques that like, honestly, I would probably never really use in a fight. Like, I like leg locks. Just kind of something that like I've taken to, but like I didn't necessarily use it in a fight at work.
It wouldn't be a part of like your standard operating procedure. But if you got flipped on your back for some reason and like you almost like try to get after you with a foot, you'd be fine. You can tuck it, control it, probably get back on top if you needed to. God forbid, if you needed to, you could snap something. If it got real bad.
But yeah, like that transition of like not only the fitness aspect of it, but like being used to like violently interacting with someone in a training environment every week, and then like going out and like having somebody be like, I'm gonna fight you. It's not as, it like even becomes less and less daunting.
Yeah.
Like you're like, I'm not underestimating these people.
Even though like you're fully aware at the beginning of your workday that that's what's probably going to happen.
Yeah.
But you train regularly, so it's not that big of a deal. Can you imagine what it's like for the guy who's just strapping up for the day?
I can. Yeah, I was there. I was there a couple years ago. Like,
I feel like that's where some overconfidence in the male psyche kind of kicks in.
Yeah.
I see red. So I'm good. I see red in a street fight, dog.
Don't talk to me, bro.
Don't
see
say
red.
that shit to me.
See red, all right?
So, yeah. Yeah, I feel like that gets conflated. Maybe in your line of work, I don't know.
It truly does. And it's not to disparage anyone. It's not to say that those people are evil or bad. But that there is the guarantee of violence, and you ignore that piece of your profession and don't seek out ways to make yourself more efficient. And I'm not even like, some people say, oh, you just want them to be better bullies. No, actually, the more you train, typically the less of a bully you become. There are fucking psychopaths and sociopaths that absolutely become better bullies.
Yeah.
And you're never going to stop that. But like, I'm not saying Teddy Roosevelt was overconfident, because I think he was very accomplished, but so thinking you can go out and beat the best boxer in the world, that's like you being like, I'm going to go find, what's that gypsy dude who's like one of the best boxers in the world?
Tyson Fury?
Yeah, you're like, I'm going to go box Tyson Fury because I'm Mike Chaney and like, I just want to do that.
Yeah.
You're going to get like two punches in, you're going to be like,
we destroyed.
Yeah. You're like, I'm going to shoot a double leg, and he's like, I'm going to punch you in the face, man.
He's like 7 feet tall, so.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's going to hit you from 5 feet away almost.
Yeah.
Like, he's huge. His reach is unimaginable. And he grew up as a gypsy fighting people. Yeah, like, what do you expect is going to happen?
He's on another level.
Yeah, so I think that idea of, like, overconfidence there, like, it really is, like, I had a problem with it. Like, I didn't know, like, well, not a problem. Like, when I started the job at the hospital, I'd never been in a fight. I've been in, like, maybe one fight, but I definitely didn't think I knew how to fight people. And I was like, okay. They're like, well, you're going to fight people. And I'm like, okay. Like, are you okay with that? I guess. I was like, sure. Like, and then I was like, what does that mean? And then you like kind of figure out, like, you figure out what it means. And you occasionally get your ass beat, which has happened to me. Like, I've had my ass beat on the job because I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
And now, like, thinking back on those situations, like, I didn't do myself any favors. I didn't do the other person that I had to do things to any favors by not being trained. Like, by not exposing myself to those, like, bad situations.
I think that's one of those, like, it's like a male disservice if you don't train in combat sports, or like in a weird way. I wrestled and got the shit kicked out of me when I was like 12. Till I was about 17, and then started kickboxing. My introduction to kickboxing was like, you've been here for about 6 months, you should fight. And I was like, oh. And then they're like, tryouts, go spar. And I had to beat me and a 30-year-old dude just beat the dog shit out of each other. And that was our tryout, We both left with double blacks under our eyes. We were fucked up. But I made the team. So, but it was, I didn't crumble. I was assured that I wasn't made of glass and all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And it turned
had you started jiu-jitsu at that point?
Not really. Like, that was kind of, for a little bit, I did wrestling, and I just kickboxing for a little bit. And, like, then I started very shortly after training jiu-jitsu because it was class, and I was like, fuck it, I'll stay for whatever.
I was like, okay, this is kind of like wrestling.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, okay, I like this too.
Yeah.
but I went there like for kickboxing and to kickbox and do that shit. Yeah, I couldn't move my jaw for a week. I couldn't talk right. And
How old are you? Like 15, 16?
yeah, because there's bleed over. Because I was still there in high school. Like I bled over. I think might be the end of my sophomore year into my junior year is when I started doing that. However old you are then.
Did you tell your parents that?
What?
What did you tell your parents?
I don't remember. I think I came, like my dad, because I couldn't drive at the time.
Yeah.
I remember my dad would drive me down there. I think I just like came out and it was just a real quiet car ride home, you know? Like I was
Just the view was like, okay.
and he was like, you good? And I was kind of like, I'm tired. Like, like kind of a,
You're like, I'm
yeah,
concussed. You
yeah,
pass out.
probably.
Die. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was just kind of like, huh. But like that was, you know, first,
Yeah.
like I had to fight a 30-year-old dude. Like I had to fight a man.
Yeah.
I was just a boy. So like,
I'm just a sweet boy.
you get blasted in the face by a dude, and, you know,
Yeah.
and no, you don't just, you know, absolutely crumble. You know, it's gratifying
Yeah. Yeah. That's
in a way. And back then when I was younger, I was like, fuck yeah, you know, I need that shit, all that shit. Which I did, so
Yeah.
it's good.
So, I mean, obviously, like, you've been doing, like, and wrestling, like, I think this kind of gets lost, too, like, except for people that do it. Like, wrestling is a combat sport.
Mhm.
Like, everybody thinks, like, wrestling, like, oh, Olympics. Like, there's, like, oh, like, no, it's a fucking combat sport.
Yeah, that's
Like, it is, like, one of the oldest combat sports.
hard as fuck.
Yeah. Like, wrestling is grind.
Yeah.
Like, just like any other, like, true sparring grappling art, like, it is a grind.
Mhm.
And the conditioning that goes with it is, like, insane. Like, yeah, like it produces tough people. Like, even if that's all they ever do is wrestle, like they're tough as fuck.
Yeah.
So,
And that's, you know, and depending on how young they start and the way they train, going back to Dagestan, like they'll start at 5 and that's how they're trained until they're fucking 25.
yeah.
They're all animals. There's some of that in America, but it's a little different.
I was gonna say, like, I know a couple dudes that I worked with. One of them was like started when he was 4, and when I met him, he was like 44.
Yeah.
So he'd literally been wrestling for 40 plus years.
Yeah.
And he taught me a couple things that I understand now. Like, now that I grapple, like some of his like leg weaves and like stuff like that to like use to like turn people.
Mhm.
And like the way he did it, I was like, what the hell? That was like my first exposure to like a true high level grappler.
Yeah.
And like he still coaches like out east of here, and like he's a wild man.
Edit break.
I was gonna say we gotta teach. Right?
Jeff just texted me. Hold on. But I mean, when I was younger, I like wrestled a little bit, but I wasn't like, oh, I'm tough.
Yeah.
You know? And I kind of think that's why I was like seeking that out more. I was like, all right, I can grapple a little bit, man. I go see what striking's about.
Yeah.
You know, and putting it together again because I wanted to do MMA. Trained a lot of that. Never got to fight. Still, I maybe get that in before my brain is totally fucked. But you know, that's when I really started like digging into competitive jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Like, and that's, you know, again, just another rabbit hole of crazy competitive, insane stuff. So just, but I've gotten to touch some really cool people. But I've gotten to cool, you know, I've done, you know, 80cc. Yeah, exactly.
Do that up, yeah.
Yeah, 80cc style tournaments, IBJJF tournaments at high levels, you know. I've done them at every belt generally. I mean, I think the last one I did, the first one I did was either like blue or purple belt. I can't remember. Had to look at my belt history thing.
Yeah.
But like did Nagas and all that shit before that, like then kickboxed and stuff. So there's something there. There's a resume somewhere.
I was gonna say, like, I know, obviously, like you and I have a lot of mutual friends now. Because of you and we had mutual friends before I even knew you.
Yeah.
But a lot of the people that we know mutually, like, have that like deep need for competition.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's not a bad thing. Like they kind of the place you guys came out of was like bred that into you guys. Like unhealthy at first, but maybe now it's turned into something healthy.
It's
like
better. Yeah. The people who found their way through the shit, made it a healthy thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, for a while it was pretty ugly for people.
Yeah.
Just the environment alone.
Right.
That could be a series of podcasts in itself.
Yeah.
But
18. No.
when it did bread, like, I like competing because I probably wouldn't say that back then. Like, but I do like it now, so.
Well, it also gives you, like, the toxic nature of competing along with the healthy side of that, too. And, like.
Yeah. All that shit's a choice.
Yeah.
All that shit's a choice.
Yeah.
The way you talk to people, choice. The way you handle loss is a choice. All the shit, like, choice. And that comes from years of coaching matches and experiencing matches myself and being coached certain ways and seeing other coaches coach certain ways and all sorts of shit. So I do have my opinions in that regard.
That also could be like a completely like separate branch off. But I think like back to the main point, like, so in my profession, like, yes, there is like the nature of overconfidence. Like, let's go back, like, let's talk about that from like highly trained people. Do you have people who are, even at the high levels, they go into competitions or like things like, have you seen them go in too overconfident?
Yeah.
Because I don't know that, like, personally, I don't.
Yes and no, because it's like, if you don't go in overconfident, you're going to get fucked up. But if you go in overconfident, you get fucked up. There's like a balance you got to find there. Because I've seen, greats of the greats get subbed in like a minute by some newcomer. And it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
But again, maybe that guy came in overconfident. The vet came in overconfident, but also maybe the younger guy came in overconfident and took the shot.
Yeah.
So shit happens. Jiu-jitsu and fighting particularly, shit happens. Like,
I think that kind of goes back to like the idea of like, not luck, but just like, you don't know until the competition's over. I think that even goes with like street fight. Like, you don't know, like, yes, training will abate or can like stop some of the things, like, because you, as opposed to like, because it's been such a short amount of time for me, and like I was fighting before I was training, like literally a sanction, like, this is your job, like, you're gonna go out and touch people and like it's gonna be violent. And then like that like shift from like, I think I know a thing or two about fighting, and you're like, I think I don't know a thing or two about fighting at all. And like that, having the ability to like adjust your mentality and like completely wipe away your knowledge base and then like start over, like that.
yeah,
That's a hard thing for most men, especially, to swallow. I'm not saying women don't. There are women who are absolutely that way too. Whatever they be, fighting, fucking, whatever. But like, like that's like one of those universal truths. Like, fighting and fucking, like, that's one thing men especially, like, I'm sired. I've slayed 300 women, and you're like, yeah,
fighting, fucking, fishing.
Yeah, right.
All sorts. I knocked that big guy out. I got this fish this big.
Yeah, I fucked that girl.
Yeah. So
like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't.
No, you didn't. So yeah, I don't know. The ability to. There's plenty of opportunities to test yourself. Let's put it that way. And then, are you the type of person who will go take that test again and again and again and again and again, and then see how high that test can go, and blah blah blah.
Well, I think that's where.
Then I think you get into some people who are just nuts and there's gluttons for punishment.
That's also true. That goes to, I guess, like kind of a branch off question, like, so skilled competitors versus like competition and stuff like that are super important in context of like sport, because like training is one thing, but also like finding out what that means is also another thing. Do you think like, this is actually a question I asked Foster, we were talking about this, like, is competing helpful for people in uniform, like, from your perspective? Because you're not in uniform, like, you don't go out and fly it like under like the guise of like an agency or anything like that. But
yes and no. Like, I think it depends on the person. There's like, I think competing does in general. If they've never engaged in any type of like truly deeply grueling physical something
Yeah.
or other, like I think they should.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of people that I know that train, and then that should kind of be like where they stop, because like they need to be healthy enough to go do their fucking job. They don't need to be limping around because some retard in a Spider-Man outfit broke their heel. Like, it.
Shattered their entire leg.
Yeah. So it's like,
I'm gonna go back to my desk at an accounting firm, USA. And,
yeah, like,
shattered ACL and like.
but then there's some people who are really good and fit to be cops, and then who are fit to be competitors, you know, and have that like kind of grind mindset and shit. And it's like, cool, do both, do it all.
Yeah.
It's just a
do
matter
the
of
thing.
Yeah. And like, not to say one is better than the other. It's like,
Right.
find what fits your fingerprint. Like, true. I think it's helpful. I absolutely think it's helpful.
Yeah, I mean, like I've done the one, which you know.
Yeah.
But
It depends on how you want to treat it. Like, do you want to treat it as like a pressure test for how you are under stress, like once a year? Cool. Do you want to treat it? Do you want to be a competitor? Like, do you want to be, you know, whatever? You want to test out some shit you've been working on, you saw on YouTube? Like, whatever. Like, but also be realistic with yourself about how you're going to react afterward, too. Like,
yeah,
it's like you competed 3 times in your life. You're not a competitor. Like, it's all good. And like, it's fine.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know, but like, don't identify yourself, or like identify yourself as a label.
I'm
like,
a competition guy.
yeah, it's like you did a couple. It's all good.
Yeah,
Fine. Let's leave it at that. Come hang out.
right.
You know.
Come train. Come be a part of the process.
Yeah, that's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
But I again have like a bird's eye view to some of it, because I am a coach and like run a program and
When you still compete.
yeah, and like think of things a certain way, and again, I don't make anyone compete. I like to see certain people compete, and I'll push and urge certain people to. But again, certain people, I just leave them alone.
Yeah.
I'm like not interested necessarily in seeing them compete. I'm happy when they show up.
Right.
I'm very happy with them, content with them showing up twice a month. Like, I'm not. I wish they would come every day.
Yeah.
Of course. And I wish people would make jiu-jitsu part of their life, but like sometimes that twice a month that's what they're doing. Like that they're making it a part of their life that night or whatever. So they're gonna get a good class, hang out, go home, healthy, not be limping their way out. So for officers, yes, no, you know, depends who it is.
That's true. That is going back to that is true.
That's someone coming from someone who's competed a lot. Like,
I was gonna say, yeah, you've competed a lot. Foster's competed a lot.
I don't know, what did he say? What was his answer?
So
He's probably like, fucking everyone should.
no, his honestly like more in line with what you're saying. His thing though is he thinks you should compete at least once a year.
Yeah.
Like not even like it doesn't have to be like an elite tournament. It could be a local. It could be a small one.
Just get shit out
Pick your
there.
poison. Just test yourself out once a year. See where you're at.
It's 10,000 classes in a day.
Yeah.
It's like, it really puts a microscope to what you're fucking up.
Yeah, it does. Like four with a 3 or 6, however many matches I did in gi and no gi that one competition. Like exposed like a massive like weakness, like not just against like my game, but like everybody in that category is huge compared to me, which is saying a lot because I'm not a small dude.
Yeah.
But
They're big dogs.
But it was like, I don't know how to handle a big dog, which is a skill in and of itself. But I basically got big guy jujitsu'd. I got pinned and they took one of my arms and separated it from my body and tried to break it.
Classic.
Yeah, like it's big guy jujitsu, like, which is fine, but like everybody I train with at that point is smaller or my size. So it's like learning, like, okay, that's a fucking huge gap where I'm at. Like, so it exposed that idea. And I was like, okay. Like,
and yeah, there's, again, it just comes down to the person.
Yeah.
Like, before I would urge you to do it because you are in that line of work.
Right.
I know you're able to do it. Like, you know what I mean? There's some people who have like 900 kids. Their wife works weekends. It's like, I know you're probably not going to be able to pull it off. It's all good. But if you do, cool. Like, let's do it. But, it's very useful. It's a microscope as to what you're having problems, but
Yeah, it'll very quickly be like, you suck at this. Oh, okay. Like, oh, I do suck at that. Like,
it like brings on self-analysis, hopefully.
Yeah.
Like, not too much like, oh, I fucking suck, and then, but like, oh, I put my arm here, I zigged when I should have zagged. Got me. I'll work on it. It won't get me that way the next time.
Yep.
Hopefully I'll get him this way.
When it gives you feel for like somebody you may have never touched before.
Yeah, and I think you should fight someone who does not want you to do things. Like,
And I think that was the other point that Sean was making, like, go out and find somebody who's training, and they won't let you do the things that you might be quote unquote good at.
yeah, and that
Like,
that is a very, like, I think martial artsy thing. Like, get your style and your skill at your joint. You got to break out and see what it does against other shit.
Yeah.
Very, kung fu. My white crane versus your iron tiger. You got to test it. But again, jiu-jitsu is maturing to the point where you're seeing trends as to what works. So you're seeing gyms train certain things and kind of come out ahead.
Yeah.
That other gyms ignore or maybe aren't as good at. So, like, as someone who pays attention to competition trends, like, and then implements stuff about it, like,
Yeah.
I think you should.
Yeah. No, I mean, like,
I don't know, it's easy to be like, all right, guys, we're doing fucking wrist locks to throw, like, do what I just come up with stuff to teach people. But like, if there's like a flow to your program, like an intention to it, I think people will pick up more along the way.
Yeah.
Whereas I see just like people's jiu-jitsu schedules, like Monday we're doing back tacks, Tuesday we're doing half guard, Saturday we're doing fucking throws. Like, it's all over the place. Like, I feel like there has to be some elements of uniformity to it,
right.
for people to actually start picking things up.
Yeah. I mean, that's like, you've been pretty consistent over the several like years now that I've been training there. It's like, we don't like ignore, and because of the way we switch like gi to no gi, like, you're looking at it very different ways.
Yeah.
And like,
every time I've like gone somewhere else and like explain how I run it, they're kind of like, huh, because it's, I guess, unique or just different. I always came up doing both. I don't know. The schedule, I guess, wasn't set up that way, but like, I just always have done both. But I put it into a way that's like, hey, everyone's doing both. Like, kind of in a,
it's made me like, as somebody who started much older, like, I would have told you, like, gun in my head, like, I like no gi the most, and like, I think you probably say the same thing. Like, it's fun.
I function way better. I like the techniques more.
Yeah.
But that's not to say I don't really love shit in the gi. Like, absolutely do. But if someone put a fucking AK to my head and was like, one for the rest of your life, motherfucker, pick one, I'd say no gi. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no one's doing that, so I'm going to do both.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing too. Like, I've learned that they're like the balance of both, like, because you can slow things down in the gi, like, and it's like almost painfully slow sometimes, but like,
yeah,
like, I can,
honest to God, like, the gi versus no gi debate is like for social media.
yeah, that's all it is. But like,
it's like, make an article, write this gi cool? Nope. No gi is cooler. Like,
I do think one of the funniest things we've talked about is like, you're like, at work you do gi and no gi, and what he means by that is, I find people who are naked, I find people with their clothes on.
Yeah.
So like, both have application for me. Like, also, if you're dealing with somebody who's naked, they're far more dangerous than you realize.
Yeah. They're down to their primal weapons.
Yeah, they're like, typically, like, right now it's wintertime and it's negative degrees, or feel like negative degrees here.
Quite.
So like, thinking that person, somebody may be walking around naked in this, there is something very, very wrong with that. So
yeah, and that's self-defense right there. You got to take in environmental factors in the key. You see a naked guy walking down the street and it's -1. Leave him alone.
yeah, go the other way.
Leave him alone.
Yeah, don't have shiny objects on you.
Don't film him and say something.
Yeah. Hey man, you know you're naked. No.
Whoa.
World star.
And that's when you get stabbed by a needle.
But no, like, having the experience of both, has made like the world of difference, like in a job sense, like understanding like just baseline grips, like whether it be like finding the source, but then like, oh, I find the source, but if they have clothes on, I can find the source with their clothing and stop them. Like stuff like that's super important. Like
you can get real nitty gritty with it and be like, I grip it this way and that, and be like, cool, motherfucker, I got a collar to shove across your neck, and I can fucking, you know, like get real monkey with it. And but like KCC is gi no-gi.
Yeah.
The ground, the foundations is all gripping within the body.
Yeah.
Secondarily, it becomes shirt grabs, posts, frames.
Yeah.
It's judo and fucking gi Greco-Roman wrestling if you want to get real technical. But it's gi and no gi. A gi is just a sustainable jacket, so you can train in it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I could choke the shit out of you with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Once or twice maybe. But
they would eventually give up. It's not made to do that all the time. But like,
and that's
fundamentally the idea is the same.
And people get like, oh, t-shirt chokes are dumb. Blah. It's like, nah, I need it once. Like, I don't need it once.
This is a throwaway.
And that, if I need to, I'll loop it around again. Like, but then that's again where gi training translates to shit like that, where you wouldn't have no bearing for knowledge of that if you didn't know. Like, I can use the lapel to do certain things, and I can loop the collar certain ways. Like, it comes from extensive gi training.
It does, yeah, and like even using like even if they have a short sleeve serve and using like shoulder grips to like control like somebody who's trying to hit you with their clothing because you can't get to their shoulder. You
hockey
just
fight.
Use like a shirt. Yeah, it's a hockey fight. You're just like, oh, you're trying to hit me. Like you're like just popping them offline to like not get hit as effectively. I've done that at work.
And I don't know, you see people who train stand up or don't train stand up grappling, and like you put a stiff collar grip on them, they're like, ah, and like kind of like don't know what the fuck to do. So, one, train takedowns and train both gi and no gi is my point.
Heard it. It's not here first. You've heard it again.
Yeah, I don't think it's controversial to say that. Maybe it is. Somebody will get upset about it, but fuck them. They'll probably pull guard. I don't know.
Life and on the Mets.
It's a huge personality. I'm just kidding. I don't know if Kentucky class is happening, man. I think it's cold.
Too cold?
Yeah. I don't know if people are showing up.
So what we're talking about is typically we'll do like podcast either before or after he teaches, but like I'll be his uki for, which means I'm like there, he's doing movements. And
we don't use Japanese terms. We won the war.
Yeah, that's Craig Douglas, hashtag.
We won the war.
Yeah. What that means
You're my assistant.
I'll be his assistant partner.
My demo guy.
Yeah, so, and he teaches virtually to a group down in Kentucky. Is it G2R?
Yeah. Jeff and his awesome crew. Been down there for seminars and all sorts of stuff, and I always love it.
Yeah, they're super fun to like interact with, like in the little bit that I have through video. Just like seeing them like just whoop up on each other, like learning grappling. And
Their game.
Yeah,
Their game for everything. Good people.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it sounds like, because they're in rural Kentucky, it's probably colder than even here. Just grosser and windier and hillier and
not as much city coverage and stuff like that.
Yeah. They have, I believe, like within their city, it like splits between time zones.
No.
So half of their city runs on what they call slow time and half of their city runs on fast time. So like coordinating events and like things, you have to be like 5:30 slow time. And you have to communicate that across the board to people. So,
and this is why daylight saving time.
It needs to go away. This is insane.
It's stupid.
It's been, I've heard it's in the talks for like years, but I think it's all bullshit. But if that could go away, that'd be sick.
I would love it even if it was...
Farmers do their work at night.
Yeah. I would love it even if it was just in Ohio.
Yeah.
Everybody else, fend for yourself. Just saying. Some other states, what Indiana doesn't have it, which I could go Indiana. It's like...
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah.
I'm just going to stop participating. Just be like, no.
I refuse. You're
8.
late. I don't care.
Yeah,
you're early. I don't care. I didn't change.
It's going to start calling it mic time.
This is Eastern mic time?
No, it won't be Eastern because it'll just be mic time.
Just be mic time.
It's mic time. That's shit.
Can you imagine Trump? We're gonna get rid of time zones. We're gonna get rid of all that. It's gonna be huge.
Kind of hope.
Super.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Totally cool with that.
Yeah. Executive order ending all savings time. Only no savings.
Let's extend squirrel hunting season into March. That's what I care about. It ends on the 31st, so I have 10 days left to stack squirrels.
Have you gotten any?
Oh yeah. I went a couple weeks ago. I went for like 2 hours and got 2, like pop, like just right off the bat. And the other day, I went and walked for like 6 fucking miles and saw 1 and got it. Took 3 shots. Oh my God, this is a nightmare. Like, but yes, I have 3 squirrels in the freezer. I want to get 6 squirrels in the freezer. So I want to make some squirrels and gravy. Like biscuits and gravy.
Yeah, but squirrels. Well, so I actually have never had squirrel. Is that like, give me like an idea of like,
I consider, so I mean, 4 species of squirrels in Ohio. Within the 3, I've eaten all 3.
Yeah.
Your red squirrel, which is like the smaller pine squirrel, right? Kind of looks almost like a chipmunk, but a little bit bigger.
Okay.
Kind of has a piney taste.
Okay.
So they inhabit pine trees. Gray squirrel is kind of where it's at. It's kind of like the in between the fox squirrel, the big red ones you see.
Mm-hmm.
Those are big, tough motherfuckers. They're good, but you got to cook them a certain way.
Okay.
The eastern grays are kind of where it's at. They're like tender, they're fatty, kind of like dark meat chicken.
Yeah.
So I make them like squirrel wings.
Yeah.
Right. So you clip them up, arm, leg, in the saddle.
Yeah.
Which is basically like it's the back straps, right? Squirrel back straps, or it's more like white meat chicken. So I'll sear them really quick, bake them the rest of the way, toss them in sauce. They're pretty fucking good. It's a good recipe. I'm just saying. Don't knock it till you try it.
No, I'm not gonna knock it at all. Like, I've eaten
Squirrel is good table fare.
Yeah. I've never heard anybody speak ill of squirrel.
Yeah.
Like, as far as that, I just know it's like a small amount of meat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, depending on, if you wanted to it would be hard to survive on squirrel. Let's put it that way. I'm glad I have a deer in the freezer. If didn't have a deer in the freezer, I wouldn't be squirrel hunting.
Right.
Put it that way. So I got a deer in October. I'd still like to get one before the end of this season, February 2nd. I still have a doe tag, so. And I got one around February last year, too, so. I saw a bunch last fucking week, but they walked away from me. Yeah. But my friend wants to do coyotes, too.
Really?
Yeah. So I've been saving the squirrel guts so I can make a nice bait pile.
Okay.
He has a call, right? So you hit like a rabbit in distress call, and brings them in. Hopefully,
And they're like,
yeah, hopefully they kind of smell what's going on.
Yeah.
And then we're like 200 yards away with an AR and fucking smoke them. They're nuisance, they munch critters.
They consider it a nuisance.
They repopulate so fast, like taking 1 or 2 is probably not going to do shit. But it's better than, so he has like quails and ducks and his dogs and shit, and they come in and fuck around. So
Yeah.
it's better to get him out of there. His neighbors have goats and horses and shit, so get him out of there. But they have nice pelts. I'd like to make a blanket or something.
Or a coyote.
Coyote.
Okay.
A hat, maybe.
Maybe fucking wild.
Yeah.
Coyote hat.
Nice coyote hat. And let's talk about warm. The squirrels, I've hunted them from September to now. And you can see the massive difference in fat.
Really?
Yeah.
Because they're like storing for winter.
Mm-hmm. The ones I got in September had a layer, they weren't noticeably fat, but the ones I got recently were yellow and almost dripping with fat. It was crazy. It was really nuts. Yeah, it was. And they were noticeably just they're healthy ass squirrels.
Gather in mass.
Yeah.
For,
but they're eating hickory nuts, acorns,
which are super fatty.
Yeah.
They're
not. These are wild squirrels. They're not munching trash and shit.
Yeah. You don't want to know that city squirrel raised on fast food and trash.
Yeah, I don't think I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting a welfare check.
This one tastes like Big Mac sauce.
Yep.
The fuck?
This tastes like Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Sunday. It's not open.
What the fuck is going on?
What dumpster did you find?
Yeah. But now I mean, you know, a lot of people get their start squirrel hunting when they're young.
Yeah.
I've been,
Easier to hunt.
yeah, kind of. Like, they're not really, like, they're hard. I've gained a massive respect for the squirrel because, I mean, wild squirrels anyway, like, they're quite crafty. They know their holes, they know their routes, they know what you're doing. Like,
They're like,
motherfucker.
motherfucker trying to kill me?
Yeah. So I've definitely gained respect for the craftiness. I don't know, deer hunting is like kind of sacred and like it's a big thing. It's a big animal. Squirrels, you can kind of like miss one and be like, fuck, and just kind of move on. Shit. Which is why it's good for kids because it's kind of like easy to just like be let down and then move along. Yeah. Deer hunting, you miss one, you're like, might be fucked for the year.
That's true.
But I'm going to try and get my dad out there next year. I'm going to try and get you out there and we'll go on some short. Need to
squirrel, deer, whatever. I don't care.
Well, I mean, if you can sneak up on a small mammal, you can sneak up on a big one, or be still enough to have a big one come in.
Yeah. New skills.
Yeah, I mean, and like you learn how to process meat and package it, all that shit. So I love all that shit. It's very fun.
That'd be interesting. I'm down.
I have a vacuum sealer. It's easy. It's very fun, actually. I was addicted to vacuum sealer ads as a kid because I'm fucking weird. But I'd get up early and watch the,
like the infomercial.
Yes, the cans where they would put like 60 cans in a bag and let it fucking shrink down. I was like, dude, what the fuck? I need this thing.
Like, this is fucking magic. It's a fucking magic trick.
I'm an adult. I have one.
Yeah.
The other thing was a bunch of like knives and like shears and shit.
Yeah.
Have that now too because I use it. Like, but as a kid, I was fascinated by it, and now I'm like living it out.
I have all this now.
It's like I should have just got it then. And fucking
got it now.
Going nuts. But yeah, shit was fun. Yeah, skills. All on the skills, and then cooking. I obviously like to cook, so that helps. I think that's another thing with game meat is people get it and don't know what to do with it.
That's what I was gonna say. That's where we're like. I mean, I know how to cook things, but like when you're talking about something you process, like what to watch out for, that's where I would be. Like that's where I would need help.
Yeah.
Like and dressing it, getting all the packaging, like all that stuff. Obviously, need help with, but like then, okay, how do you? Like I know certain animals like you don't eat. What is it, like some of them you can't eat their livers, you can't eat certain parts of some animals because they're too high in certain vitamins.
Yeah.
Kill you.
Like I just don't really fuck with predators, like locally anyway. Like some people like love mountain lion meat. They eat, cervids. They don't eat trash and like weird shit. Raccoons are gross.
Yes. Cool.
Coyotes gross. Like a possum, like I wouldn't shoot a possum anyway. They're more beneficial than not.
Yeah.
Might take some duck eggs, but they eat ticks and shit. Like raccoons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I've seen people
literally trash pandas. Like,
and I've seen people cook them and eat them, and there's like recipes for them and shit and ways to do it, but it's like not the primary. Like when there's plenty of deer and shit running around, I'm good.
Remember watch? What is it called? Was it like Taboo?
Yeah.
And they had like a one about people that collected roadkill.
Yeah.
And there's like this old man who would just like, I found this raccoon, and he like parts of it look okay, and he literally cut out necrotic flesh off of a roadkill.
Yeah.
And like
it's right on
he's eating it. Like they're filming him eating this like because it's gross.
If I smack a deer in the right conditions, I'll take it.
Yeah.
But anything else?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, like also our deer here are like huge.
Yeah. Which dentists come from elsewhere to get our deer.
Yeah, also they're a pest. They're like a nuisance here.
They're an agricultural pest.
Yeah, they kill like everything.
They munch it all.
Yeah, I mean, like I was in Atlanta one time at the Blade show. And I was talking to somebody, and I told him where I was from, and he's like a big deer hunter where he's at, and he's like, "You live up there?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "I know." I was like, "You're talking about whitetail?" And he's like, "Uh-huh." I was like, I didn't know the dude at all, and I was like, but I knew he's an okay dude, and I was like, I guess if you really want to, like, if there's ever a time you want to come up and stay, like, I don't care, man. He's like, really? I was like, yeah. I was like, here's my number. Like, never hit me up. But
Yeah.
Like, I don't care.
It's a nice offer.
Yeah. Like,
I mean,
I know a shit ton of people. I still know a shit ton of people that hunt even then. Like,
some people, I'm super fortunate to have spots, but like people take up offers on spots all the time.
there's it was like, blew me away. There's a place up in Michigan that we stayed in their off season. It's a place called Two Hats Ranch, and it's a deer preserve.
Mm-hmm.
And they breed and grow whitetail, and like, it's some massive property. And the dude's, I don't know if he's still alive. His name is he goes by the Skipper, and him and his son live on the property. And they have this like ranch house that's like up on a hill, and that's where you stay. And like the rates were super cheap, so we would stay there in their off season. We'd go to visit
Hell yeah.
my wife's family,
That's awesome.
and they have feeders out. So like you're sitting on their like the back porch of the ranch house, looking down, and like whole like herds would just come up and like feed.
It's munch.
Yeah, and you can walk their property, but like what they charge for their hunts, I think the cheapest hunt is $20,000. But you're guaranteed like
Oh yeah.
like a buck.
The finest.
Yeah, like you're guaranteed like
They probably process everything and do it all.
They do. They have a chef there that like will cook for you. Like, so if you kill, they'll process everything and then they'll cook it if you want.
Nice.
And like even in the off season, they don't really cook venison, but they raise chickens and pigs and cows. So like they did like a supper club there. They made homemade potato chips, chicken, brisket, and in the morning they took the leftover brisket, and like the dude was like, I was like, yeah, I want like this many eggs and some bacon. He's like, do you want a brisket omelet? And I was like, yes.
Nice.
And so he gave me like half a pound of brisket and an omelet.
Fuck yeah.
From the cow, like from their farm. It was amazing.
I mean, yeah. If you, I don't know, like, if you can find local beef or find better beef, beef is incredible when it's taken care of.
Yeah.
There's a like Cool Wayne's Market down like Joint. Like, they have like local like a beef freezer.
Yeah.
That meat's great. I don't even know where the farm is, but it's good.
So what my boss, who like I said was a farmer, he's brought me like hot dogs processed off their farm.
Oof.
Nothing like it.
You ever had beef bacon? Holy shit. It'll change your life.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it is. I got it at a couple farmers markets and like unreal.
Beef bacon.
Get beef bacon. Like beef bacon and duck eggs.
Duck eggs are good. I've had duck eggs. Have you had turkey eggs?
Mm-hmm.
Turkey eggs, it's like the equivalent of 2 eggs. My uncle, he didn't have a farm, but they had like a corner of like a lot with a barn, so they raised guinea fowl, chickens, and turkeys.
Yeah.
And he would give us turkey eggs and chicken eggs and
Nice.
guinea fowl eggs.
That's awesome.
And like you would have to have like 5 guinea fowl eggs to like equal maybe even like 4 eggs.
Right.
I'm sorry, like 2 eggs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then like a turkey egg, you could get like 2 or 3 turkey eggs, and that's like a ton of
It's a fine omelet.
It is. Well, like the shells are like super thick, and the egg is probably like about the size of a baseball, but like mad long, obviously. Good.
I'm gonna try spring turkey hunting. Okay. Try it. Mike Wells wants to try it, so
All right.
I think we're scoping out a spot. Birds don't move me as much as mammals and shit,
Yeah.
but turkey I've heard is like exhilarating. Like it's like fucking crazy. It's like interactive.
I heard it's a hard hunt.
Oh yeah, it's hard.
Have you ever like interacted with turkeys at all?
Mm-hmm.
There's
Not intentionally, but yes.
Okay. So when my uncle raised them, he had one that was like, it was like a dog.
Yeah.
Like it would come up to him, he would pick it up, and it would lay its head on his shoulder, and he would just walk around with his turkey.
His buddy.
Yeah. It walked up to me and like was like looking at me. It like wanted attention, like one of our dogs.
It was a pet.
Yeah, it was a pet. It wandered out of the road and somebody hit it.
Oh no. You munch it?
No.
Damn.
They hit it. Just
Damn.
We're like, well, I hit your
Obliterated it.
He was like, great, that's like my pet.
Yeah.
So
Damn. Now I've been deer hunting and like have had a troop kind of roll through, and I was kind of like fucking with them.
Yeah.
So they're really interesting animals. Little dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Little bowling balls. But I think Wayne National Forest has like a decent wild population. So we'll fucking see. My buddy gave me a box call. Like,
Cool.
come on, boys.
Row.
My buddy gave me like a box call, like to
Yeah.
learn how to click and call them and shit. But like once they're closing on top of you, you like can't fucking move.
Yeah.
Like I want to get a mouthpiece and learn how to do that shit too.
Oh yeah. I know they're like really like freaked out by like movement.
Yeah. They're
Just
just
movement. They're like gone.
nervous critters. Yeah.
But my dogs were digging. Both of them.
Bastards.
We're about that time. We're over an hour.
Let's wrap it.
Yeah. Thanks guys.
Thanks for having us.
See you next time.
Peace in.
Peace.